Hello and welcome back to Dark Souls 2. I'm Dynamite, and last time we got this sweet-ass twin blade, but we can't upgrade it very much, so on this episode we're gonna get a new weapon that we can upgrade all the way to plus 10. Alright, first things first, we're gonna be heading back to the Lost Bastille, specifically Strayed Cell, and that's the guy that gave us this twin blade. So if you remember, the paths leading from Majula culminate in 4 old ones. And those are bosses that, once all 4 of them are defeated, will open the way to Castle Drangleic and the second half of the game. These paths are linear, and if you remember, we've actually gone pretty far in this one linear direction. We've beaten the last giant, and then the pursuer, and then last time we beat the ruined sentinels. And what this means is the next boss we fight is going to be our first old one, and I think she's noticeably more difficult than the other ones we fought so far. So what I'm doing here is I'm just lighting the bonfire real quick before we go and fight the boss, so I can warp back here later when I want to. But if you notice, I just got invaded by someone named Forlorn. Now if you remember, I'm playing offline, but that doesn't matter because, and get this, Dark Souls 2 has 24 or so NPC invaders that will come into your world and kill you completely without warning, and I absolutely love it. They have unique names, they have a predetermined set of weapons and armors, they taunt when they kill you, and the best ones have a custom AI that will mess with your mind just the way a human invader might do. It adds so much life to the game, and it's one of my favorite things in the series, and hopefully I'll be showing you every single one of them in this playthrough. Forlorn is special for an invader because he'll invade you over and over at almost any location in the game, so you might not see him in exactly the same spot that you saw him here in your playthrough. And anyway, of course, since I hyped him up so much, he decides to fucking run away, which means I'm not even going to waste my time fighting him, and I'm just going to head down to fight the boss. Of course, you can tank a few hits from the enemies here, it's no big deal. It's still early game, and they do so little damage, and they're so slow with their attacks, so as long as you're quick with your movement and you know where you're going, you can pretty much just tank a couple hits and get on your way. And speaking of knowing where you're going to want to head straight as fast as you can because there's a giant enemy in the water, and you're going to want to head either left or right, and I choose left, to run up the stairs and then go straight. Now if you've beaten the ruined sentinels, you have the Bastille key, which means you can go through the doors up top, but if you haven't done that, if you went to the Lost Bastille the other way, you won't have the key, and you'll have to jump down in the river in the middle and pull the gate open. And that gives enemies time to attack you, although if you're quick doing that as well, they also won't get you, so it's really not a big deal either way. Now I realize I didn't stop and give you a good look at it, but this is actually one of my favorite areas in the game. You have this long, narrow bridge across the water and this imposing building at the end, and it just screams that there's going to be a big boss fight in that building, and there totally is, and it's just something I wish they did a little more of in this game. Alright, now remember kids, it's always important to apply a nice thick minty coating to your twin blade before going into a boss fight. It could save your life. So this is the Lost Sinner. Even though she looks like a man, even though she has facial hair, her boss soul refers to her as a she, and I guess the reason she's so lost is because the sexist old Japanese dudes that made this game figured that only a woman could get that lost. 2014 folks, the golden age of sexism. Never forget the struggle. But enough about the unanswerable crimes of the past. The twin blade has basically no range, so as you can see I'm not swinging it until I'm basically right next to her. And also when I do swing it, I'm usually not doing more than one hit at a time because this boss just loves to jump away from you once you get behind her. And there's a joke there, but I'm not gonna make it. This boss has a really annoying thrusting attack, and as you can this boss has a really annoying thrusting attack, and you should avoid it by either rolling to the left or to the right of it. However, previously I avoided it by rolling very, very far away from it. And furthermore, this boss is an absolute fucking nightmare to fight if you have low agility, so I'm very thankful that I leveled it up, and I would consider that pretty much a prerequisite to fighting this boss. The first old one is dead, and the twin blade reigns supreme. We're going to take a victory drink before we find our way out of this place, which apparently is a lot more difficult than it looks, because I'm kind of chimping out here. This chest here is a fragrant branch of yort, which is going to get us to the next area, which we're going to blitz through as fast as we possibly can. And also you'll notice that we're fucking loaded. After we pop that boss soul we just got from this thing, we're going to be sitting just shy of 100,000 souls. 100,000 souls that we got from a boss that we killed with a +1 weapon early in the game. God damn, I love this game. Also, that right there was called a Primal Bonfire. You can ignore the name. They're not really important at all. All they do is warp you back to Majula, and they don't do anything else. So after spending our giant pile of souls, we're going to head up this way and immediately use our new fragrant branch of yore that we got from the chest to unlock a new path out of Majula. So the guy chilling up ahead is Ben Hart, and he'll help you fight a couple bosses, but unfortunately we don't need any of his help. Sorry, Benny boy, just take it easy. Now this room actually has stuff going on in it. First, we're going to unpetrify Rosabeth so we can pull the lever on the wall. When you pull the lever, the door you just came through closes and 6 enemies in the room come out to try and kill you. To make matters worse, the way forward doesn't open right away, so you're going to be trapped in this little room here with a bunch of these disgusting ass enemies. 4 of the enemies are up top, so we can't reach them until they jump down, but what we can do is kill the 2 on the bottom floor before we pull the lever, so that way we're only fighting 4 enemies at once instead of 6. Pro strats. Alright, I get in position, I immediately kill the one closest to me, and I almost get the second one as well, but he barely hangs on with like 1 HP, which kinda sucks. Then I circle around while I wait for my stamina to recharge, and when it's full, I walk back in and do another combo, which kills another one. And because this one is still stuck in his animation from swinging his stick at me, I get a backstab in, which was kinda nice. Anyway, then this fucker shows up, and after getting smacked in the face, I finish both of them off, making sure not to get stuck in my attack animation until I'm safely away from the cloud that Basilisk spews out. And if you stand too long in the cloud, you'll die and get sent back to the last bonfire you rested at, so we're just gonna avoid that at all costs. So Rosabeth sells some basic pyromancies, but she also needs some of our clothes before she can head back to Majula. Her excuse is that being petrified for so long somehow turned her clothes into rags, but this is obviously bullshit because we're gonna unpetrify a lot of people in this game, and literally no one else has had this issue. Anyway, I give her the imported set, which are the rags you start the game in. You actually only have to give her 1 piece of clothing, but I guess I just feel bad for her because I give her the whole outfit anyway. So we're going to light the bonfire in the room on the left, and then after that we're going to pick up another Estus shard in the room on the right. This bonfire is one of those useless ones I told you about that you'll never ever warp to once you've lit the one after it. So as long as you can survive the next area of the game and light the next bonfire, this one basically has no purpose. Now, if you jump up to the 2nd floor from the stairs, there's 2 enemies up here, and there's a soul on the floor worth 5,000. And we're also blessed enough that after we kill this Gurm guy here, we get a piece of his fashion souls. And it's actually one of my favorite armor sets in the game, so I might farm it up a bit off camera, and that way we can look good for the rest of the run. Amazingly, I somehow forgot that I already picked up the Estus shard, so naturally I go down and try to get it again. This is actually not advised because there's only 1 shard here, and checking the empty chest more than once is a complete fucking waste of your time. So this first item is it's a trap of sorts because it's only 50 souls, but we're just gonna grab it anyway and keep going to the next one. So next I'm running past these guys to get a Pharaoh's Lockstone, and it's actually a pretty good showcase of how non-threatening they are when you're not trapped in a tiny room with them. This soul is worth a couple thousand, so I'm grabbing this one. The item next to it that I ignored is a human effigy, I believe, and if we need that, we'll come back for it. Up ahead is the Ruined Fork Road. Now, the path to the left leads towards Castle Drangleic, but we can't enter it yet because we haven't killed the 4 big bad bosses. The center path is Aldia's Keep, which is the final stretch of the game, and the path to the right, which is where we're going, is more of the Shaded Woods. Not only is your vision obscured here, but there's translucent enemies hiding in the fog that can backstab you for a shit ton of damage. Thankfully for us though, there's these trees with faces on them, and when you hit them they let out a moan, and that moan attracts the nearby enemies so you can run through without getting dogpiled by all these invisible boys. And I feel so stupid for saying that, but it's the weird shit like this that really gives Dark Souls 2 its unique charm. And I don't know, it's just like there's less pressure to be this serious, solemn game from start to finish. Yeah, there's a couple items hidden in the fog, but we're only interested in one of them right now. And it's kind of hard to explain the layout if you don't know it, but we're basically going all the way back and then to the left up this little ramp here. And if you missed it, the ring I picked up in that chest is the upgraded Claranthe ring, and now that we have that, we can actually have our stamina regenerate even faster. So this is the final area of the Shaded Woods, and once you go up this ramp right here, you get on top and you might notice that there's an area you can reach by jumping to it. So here we have another lone Cyan Knight guarding a metal chest, which can only mean one thing. Our second Sublime Bone Dust is hidden inside, and once we get it, we'll make our Estus Flask heal us more. As you can see in this fight, my backstab does pretty shitty damage, honestly, and that's a pretty good indicator that having minimum stats for a +1 weapon isn't really cutting it anymore. Anyway, once it gets back up, we don't even give him a chance to turn around and just beat him to death. This chest has the Black Knight Halberd, and I'm happy to say it's not half as busted as it is in Dark Souls 1. In this game, the 4 Black Knight weapons have innate fire damage on them, so they're not the pure physical damage monsters that you remember from the last game. Just make sure you're aware of that before you dump all your upgrade materials into it. So I'd be unpetrifying this guy right here if I had another Fragrant Branch of Yore. Once you unpetrify him, you can kill him and he'll drop a key. You can use that key in this area to free the second boss weapon, Blacksmith. Now, I don't have another branch, so I'm gonna have to come back later and do it. Forlorn decides that he's not done trying to fuck up my playthrough, and this time I'll actually give him a chance to do it. I praised the Invader AI early in this episode, and Forlorn has what I'm going to call the good AI. In PvP against a real person, you can always roll after getting hit by their weapon twice, and the developers made it this way on purpose so you don't get stun-locked to death from a single opponent. And the same holds true for Forlorn. Even though he's not a real person, he still won't let you just hit him over and over without rolling out of the way. When he spams guard, I try and go in for a guard break, which is when you hit up and the right bumper at the same time. It's a short range attack, but if it connects while he's still blocking, you get to hit him for critical damage. It's basically like a backstab, but from the front. So please, try and enjoy my long epic duel with Forlorn, and I just want you to appreciate how much they tried to make it like a real PvP fight. And if you'll notice there, he even backstepped out of my backstab hit, which is something you can do in real online play. Damn, what an anime ending to our fight. 2 hits at the same time. Now I can fight Forlorn every time he shows up if you want, and maybe I'll even keep like a Forlorn death counter or something, and whoever has more deaths at the end, me or Forlorn, is the bigger idiot. And we're gonna pick up a few more souls in this area before we head on and fight the boss. So this chest has 2 good upgrade materials in it, and it's guarded by this guy here. And we want to lure him away from the chest because wooden chests in this game will be destroyed if they get hit enough times, and once they're destroyed, you permanently lose all the items that were inside. And also he was kind of beating my ass, so I rolled off the edge and ran away. So you're going to want to hug the wall here, or you're going to want to go all the way around to the right, so that way you don't fall in the pit trap in the middle. Again, I chimp out a little bit and I drop my gold pine resin on the ground because I was trying to buff my weapon with it, and as it turns out, you can't buff the Dragon Rider Twin Blade with resins, so I just kind of give up and stumble into the boss fight. So this is Scorpioness Najka. Her design is just a Quelaag ripoff, but her fight is completely different. So the basic strategy is that she has lots of quick, annoying attacks from the front, so I want to spin around to the side and bait out her really slow, awful attacks, and try and get in a lot of hits that way. She also casts spells, and I totally fail the dodge, and oh shit, she almost combos me out. I would have just used the Bright Bug if I knew you guys were going to have to watch me struggle so hard here. Najka also tunnels, and when she does, you need to run away to this piece of building that's sticking out of the sand. Now if you stay here, you're safe because she can't unburrow underneath you, but if I were out in the sand, she could like explode out of the sand underneath you and you'll just take a lot of damage. So once again, now that she's unburrowed, I'm trying to bait out her slow-ass tail attacks, and now that I'm watching this back, it's kind of super obvious that I don't have any of her timings memorized. But eventually we muddle through and win the fight. Najka is finally dead. Anyway, that's going to be all for today. We're going to be getting our super awesome weapon and upgrading it all the way on the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I tried to make my commentary a little more intelligible by adding it in post-production instead of while I'm playing. Anyway, let me know what you thought. I'll see you guys on the next one.